Tonight I am thrilled to have beside me Moyo. He has been co-inspiring with me for a number of years now. I should thank Mareko for that. She came up with that. It's brilliant. But his bio is there, and I can't say enough about him. I love the man dearly. I love his children. I love his partner, and he's just a great joy to be with. So he's going to tell us about Ubuntu, and then we've got another more of a great evening planned ahead. Have I done my part now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Big wish. Moyo.
How are you all feeling? So I am going to share with you some of the fruits of some seeds that I planted, that others also planted with me for the last 9 years or so. So let me begin by saying that my name is Moyo, and Moyo is actually not my official name or the name that I was given at birth. Moyo means heart, and it is the name of my clan. So I am from the Moyo clan, and our responsibility to our communities as the Moyo clan is to look after others. We are supposed to provide food. We are supposed to provide shelter. So if you go to Zimbabwe, you hear people calling each other, Moyo, or Gudo, which is the baboon, or Ziva, which is the river. People call each other using their clan names. And when I call myself Moyo, I feel like it's not just calling me, it's also calling the ancestors that came before me. And the other people of my clan that are going to come after me. And the cows from which we derive our name, because my totem comes from the heart of the cow. Ubuntu Learning Village is located in Zimbabwe, which is in southern Africa, in the rural areas in an area called Serima in Masvingo province. Probably many of you have never heard of this, but it's sort of in the southern side of Zimbabwe. Many things sort of conspired to lead me to sort of initiate the creation of Ubuntu. So I came to Canada in 2001 as a student, and I was here to study economics and business. So actually I have a degree in business and economics. But when I was studying business and economics, I started making connections with indigenous peoples of this land. And we would share stories and talk about colonialism, colonization. We talk about indigenizing and shifting things. And sort of themes started emerging around how we were connected, around how the system that sort of over-represents itself as the norm and as the only possible reality is actually dangerous, even to those who support it. It is a system that emerges out of all the isms that you can think about. So from those conversations, we started having discussions around, okay, so what do we do, right? Folks from Ghana have a beautiful saying. I mean, folks from Sierra Leone have a beautiful saying. It goes. It does not matter how long you talk about it. It is a fact that talk will never boil a pot of rice. So we started having discussions around, so what do we actually do? And some folks would suggest, well, we need to go into the system and change it. we tried that. And I mean, I have not lived a very long life to say I've tried it many, many years. I would be lying. But I think from observing what has been happening, from also studying what has been happening, I happen to also be doing a PhD here at OISE, where I study social movements. And I look at, historically, what has been achieved through social action and what kind of social actions end up in sort of what kind of new systems. But what I've sort of learned is that the system that we are dealing with is very clever. It's actually a very, very clever system, and it is not wise to actually think that it is actually going to change that easily. It's a system that is clever ideologically. It is a system that has the support of a lot of materials, that has a support of legal instruments, that has an international network, a dense network that is there to sustain it. So we're not just like, we're not like dealing with a very easy thing, right? And if you try changing it from within, my feeling is you're gonna get swallowed, right? You're gonna get swallowed. Let's not. Sometimes we kind of sometimes we confuse the ways in which the system seeks to legitimize itself with actual social change, right? The fact that, Barack Obama could be president of the United States does not actually tell us that there is social change happening, right? It tells us that actually the system has gotten smarter because it knows that it can legitimize itself by co-opting, right? So from this, we sort of started talking about, okay, so what do we actually do? And a group of us thought, okay, how about we kind of start this small movement? And the small movement would be creating spaces where we can actually experiment with the ways that we would like to relate with each other, with the ways that we would like to live with nature, with the ways that we would like to eat, to have ceremony, to connect to our own indigeneity. And so that was the birth of Ubuntu. Ubuntu basically comes out of a philosophy, a way of life from sort of East Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa. Ubuntu, some people have heard it sort of being explained as we are, I am because we are. I like to say, actually, for me, I would say I am because of what is. Meaning I am taking all my relations, the humans, the human persons, the animals, the trees, everything together. So Ubuntu as a philosophy, it says that we're always, even if we recognize it or not, we're always in relation. You cannot be, without. Like we are not existing in a vacuum. Individualism is false. It's not true. It's not actually reality. It's impossible. It's actually impossible. Because the moment that I actually try to be, then I'm like, where would I stand, right? Because there's something holding me right here, right? Like it's actually impossible. So Ubuntu is a recognition that because it's actually impossible to be like that, right? To be an individual in the liberal sense. We have to start actively and practically honoring all the relations that make us possible. So the experiment with Ubuntu Learning Village is really to put that into practice. So we're always thinking, as our philosophy kind of takes a few things. We're always in relation. This is one of the buildings that we just finished constructing, and my partner Nadia did murals. And the murals actually emerged out of conversations around what are our principles? How are we going to live with each other? And one of them is really recognizing our relationality. That represents that. It also represents the ability to listen to the earth, to listen to each other, to listen to oneself. Unity. We also believe that we are held in this spiritual force that we cannot put words to. And we're interconnected always. We exist in this web of relationships. So Ubuntu as a philosophy, it's interesting actually, because if we break it down in what, philosophers or whatever call etymology, if we break down the word Ubuntu in the Shona system, there is Unu, there is Munu, there is Chinu, there is Dunu. So Unu, which means behavior, the way we conduct ourselves. Munu, which means a human person. Chinu or Zinu, which means non-human creatures, or trees and grass and other things. And Dunu means the land. It's all encapsulated in Ubuntu. So what exactly do we do at Ubuntu? At Ubuntu, we grow food. We actually grow food to feed ourselves, because we believe that if we can actually grow our own food, if we can keep our seeds so that Monsanto does not dictate what goes into our bodies, then we actually stand a chance. If we can work, because I believe actually people love work. We don't like jobbing. Jobbing there's a difference, right? There's a difference between jobbing and working. So people actually love work, and we believe that we derive joy from work. And so we actually work to grow our own food. On my right here is Tapiwa. That's Spiwe. That's Winnie. They're carrying watermelons that just came from the fields. I happened to be there when we were harvesting the watermelons. It was delicious. They were really, really delicious. And we've been keeping these seeds there from my village where I was born. We've been keeping this particular seed for about 10 years. We also do art. So if you can see, it's a representation of people dancing, people playing bira, the instrument that I have here, people playing marimba, people playing drumming. The whole community right now, there is about 16 people. All of them are artists. And artists not in the sense of like being trained. The culture at home is you just learn as you do, right? So there are dancers, there are singers, there are mbira players, there are drum players. So there's a lot of playing. Playing is one central thing that keeps us alive. We care about the earth. So we're trying to have solar as our way of generating electricity. So this is, my friends and I installed that when I was there, and that supplies our lights in the houses, all the houses that are there, also to charge some computers when we have them there. We are sort of exploring partnerships with other solar folks in the solar industry to actually start really building things from resources that are available in Zimbabwe and share that with the communities surrounding us. So Ubuntu itself is actually a hub for the community surrounding us. We say Ubuntu Learning Center because literally it's actually a learning center. So every day there's somebody coming, there's people there learning different things. We plant trees in shit, and I actually literally mean it. So our way of recycling what we eat is we build compost toilets. And some people call them abalos. And then when they are full, we plant trees on them. Keep the cycle going, right? So here actually I was planting an avocado tree on a toilet that, on a compost toilet that had been full. And then, we have kids. We also have different animals. This is just a shot to show, when we're hanging out, it's busy. There's a lot of movement activity there. This is my Tino and Tino. This is Gift. He's planting a tree in another compost toilet. One of the major things that are happening in Zimbabwe right now is that there is a lot of new diseases that people did not have before. One of them being like sugar-related diseases, because people are drinking a lot of tea, and so we're trying to actually create an alternative to sugar, which is by keeping bees. So this is one of the Ubuntu's Godi, just installing a beehive. Then how we cook. We're trying to change our way of cooking because this is not efficient because we use wood and it's not really efficient. But the way we work is everything is communal. We cook together, we go to the fields together, not all the time because that is impossible. But we try as much as possible to keep the collective going. And then we sit in circle in prayer. We believe that we are connected to our ancestors. We believe that we are connected to the trees, we are connected to the water. People carry spirits from different things, from cows, from the ocean, from people that come from far. So what you're looking at right now is what had happened was that after being in Zimbabwe for about a month, there was no rain. And when we talk about climate change, right? When we talk about climate change, sometimes here we talk about it as if it's something that is going to have impacts in the future. What is happening in the African continent is very frightening. In my own lifetime, my very short lifetime, I have seen, rains coming every year, to coming every other year, to coming every 4 years. It's a very short period of time. Right? So this one, what had happened was that there was no rain, and we're playing music. We believe that playing bira and singing helps the rains to come, and it wasn't working. So we're like, okay, let's represent it on a wall. Put a permanent prayer out there. So my partner designed this and magically it actually rained. Right? It actually rained. So at Ubuntu, the pillars are food, art, and community. Food that we grow ourselves, art that we do not to perform, for audiences, but because that is the way we spiritually connect. That is the way we laugh and play. That is the way we build relationships within the community. And then community, really meaning the community within Ubuntu as a village, the community surrounding us. But we also believe in what we call translocalization, which is that we do actions on the local level with a global consciousness. But not only that, we also connect with other people who are doing similar work, who are doing it in different localities. So for example, if Doug is doing what he's doing with his community, I would want to have a relationship with Doug where we share what's happening where you are, right? What are you learning? Because we're a learning village. It's an experiment. We don't have exact answers. I'll be lying to you. It's an experiment. And we believe that many of these experiments actually can bring us to a better place. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I believe in networking. And networking, not I don't mean like going to a forum and exchanging business cards. What I mean by networking is that notion of translocalization, where, for example, Doug's community and my community are connected, right? We learn from each other. We practice some of the things that we've learned, still staying rooted in our local ways of knowing, in our local spiritualities, in our local place. But also, learning from what is working and what is, there's certain, no culture is perfect, but we can actually learn from each other from a very respectful place. But I also believe in networking in the sense that if we see something that is working, we can take it to a different place and share that. And hopefully the people will create something. And then another community will create something. And then another community will create something. And over a period of time, you have a dense network of these spaces. I feel, this is how you actually bring in a new system. Because capitalism is not that old, you know that, right? It's actually not that old. Right? It's actually it's just started small, and through building networks, it became dominant. We can learn from that.
Just want to add a couple of things to what he said and tie it into what's going on here and then open it up. And another brother of mine who's on the East Coast said to me a little while ago, and again, I probably have said this to some of you, he said, before the invaders came, we spent most of our time in the collective pronoun, as an us, So what this series is about is trying to find ways to encourage people to become us's. We all are us's, but we don't know it. And around each of us, there is an us, people that we love. And tonight we're going to explore some things. I'll just, ways we can start to put action to that, starting to tribe up, starting to become an us. Because it's a little harder for us to emancipate ourselves when we're not right there. In some ways, it's harder for us than it is in Zimbabwe.